Welcome, welcome. Just working through some of the setup kinks here as you guys are jumping on. Madison, Jack, Audrey, Marissa, Casey, thank you for being here. You guys, okay, Jack's popping in the chat. Yeah, feel free to, pop in the chat, say hi. You're welcome, Marissa. Great to be here with you. Definitely looking forward to jamming on some ads today. Got some really good stuff in the sort of lifestyle brand space to share with you guys today. Some fun content as well. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll probably start at about 10:05. We'll give a few minutes for other insider members and things to jump on, see the banner at the top in the hub there. So if you want to throw any questions into the chat as well while we're, before we get started, happy to answer anything that's, media buying related, developing creative related, messaging related, what's working right now, best practices. Feel free to throw any of those nuggets into the chat before we get started. So I'm just going to kind of hang out here while we are waiting. Can somebody do me a quick favor, because I'm actually live, maybe Jack, if you could, or Madison, can you guys see the banner at the top in TikTok Insider showing that we're going live? Could somebody just confirm that for me real quick? In the chat is totally fine, by the way. Cool, thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Who else just jumped on? Alex, welcome, Alex. Appreciate you jumping on. Okay, cool. Thank you, Jack. Appreciate that. Got some good stuff here for you guys today. Some of the ads that I'm going to share with you, our team runs the ads actually on this one. Some of the examples that I share with you guys are examples that where we actually run the media buying. Others are where we are developing the creative for brands, agencies, etc. So in this scenario, this was a straight build from zero. As you guys know, those are some of the toughest brands to run when you're running from zero data and then developing your winning ad formula. So definitely excited to do that. Francis, what's up? Thanks for jumping on. Brian Gonzalez. If that's the Brian Gonzalez that I think that I know that it is, I'm glad you're here. Happy to have you, man. Brian's also in my group, so that's pretty sweet. Just gonna, like I said, give a few more minutes, wait for everybody to jump on. Usually we've got all those laggards. Alexandra, thanks for joining. Like I said, while we're gonna start in about 1 to 2 minutes here. While you guys are jumping on, feel free to put any questions into the chat. Whether it's strategy questions, messaging questions, stuff that's trending right now, best practices, how to test, how to develop your creative, anything that you guys want to fire in there while we're getting loaded up, feel free. Derek, great to have you. Michael Sanchez, living legend, great to have you. Definitely looking forward to jamming with you guys today. And we'll start here in about a minute or so. Probably going to go for about a half hour pending questions. So we'll probably go to about 10:45-ish overall. So that way you guys know that, we shouldn't really go through to the full hour unless you guys want to. I'm sure some of you might need to jump off at some point as well. And then obviously we'll be sharing the recording in Insiders also, so you guys can circle back to anything that we jam on today also, and either rewatch or circle back with questions on anything that we talk about today, or questions that it might prompt. So, all right, I'm just gonna get myself set over here with my deck, make sure that you guys can see it. So bear with me 1 sec. Madison or Jack, if you could just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat that you guys can see this. That'd be super helpful. Want to make sure that everybody can see what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at a brand called Heatwave, lifestyle brand, pretty successful 8-figure brand. Cool, Marissa, thank you. Madison, thank you. All right, sweet. So Heatwave is they're sort of a lifestyle sunglasses brand positioned in the extreme sports sort of category to a degree. The company has focused for a really long time and really niching itself to this specific avatar. Let me full screen this bad boy here as well. The company has really positioned itself to really hit this avatar pretty hard. I'm pretty pumped to share these ones with you guys because a couple of them are actually a bit funny, which I really like. Adding humor to your creative can be a very engaging hook, with capturing attention, within the feed. Remember, the lens in which that I share with you guys to be building and developing your creative through is this focus of engage, entertain, and educate. It's important to remember that the reason that TikTok is so addictive for many people is because the algorithm and the content is just very compelling, right? It's very engaging. And so you want to make sure that your creative is really, for lack of better words, blending in with how engaging the rest of the content is, right? Whether it's a video from your friend, from your mom, from an influencer that you follow. You don't want that content to stand out like a sore thumb from a perspective of it being extremely branded. So for a couple of you guys that just jumped on, we're looking at a brand today called Heatwave. And so, we want to make sure that we're focusing on being engaging first. So that first 3 to 5 seconds of our video, engaging through those text overlays, through those direct response headlines, on the video, through, our opening scenes, which we call virtual hooks, to the actual script in the speaking points with the auditory hook. I want you guys to really pay attention and focus on that today, so that you can carry those strategies back when you're developing your own content. So like I've always promised, I'm always going to do my best to give you guys transparent data on these creatives so that it's not just very arbitrary with regards to this definition of a winning ad. Obviously, every brand has a different KPI. Every brand has a different KPI for either ROAS or CPA or different things like that. With a brand like this for Heatwave, just to give you guys a little bit of context, they're almost too big for their own good at this point, where tracking is actually pretty difficult. These guys do an amazing job with their organic social media. This became, for lack of better words, more than a $2 million a month e-com brand without a whole lot of paid advertising. Our team is now running all of their paid social and their paid search. But these guys were an 8-figure business before we've ever really attacked something like TikTok, for example. And so, for some of you guys who are a bit more seasoned, who are in the group, TikTok tracking is still not the greatest, right? It is very true top of funnel, very cold traffic, especially because people aren't necessarily looking to buy for the most part through TikTok. They're there to be engaged. And so, we're often seeing a lift in total MER, total sales, and things like that outside of, in-platform tracking. And obviously, depending on how you guys are going about your attribution, whether you are incorporating something like Triple Whale, Heroes, Wicked Reports, etc., it's going to be dependent on, how you're actually tracking your metrics there. So, same format as last go around. What we're going to do is we're going to watch these videos together. We're going to break them down. I'm going to ask you guys to engage in the chat for what you notice about these ads that catch your attention, that makes you believe that it's a winning ad. One of the biggest things that I do when I train media buyers and ad buyers, etc., is I want to train our eye. I want us to see the replicatable framework so that we can produce winning ads more consistently, so that we can scale more consistently so that we can stabilize performance when we're running our campaigns. And so the more that we can replicate from frameworks, the less that we can reduce our losses, right? And that could be either wasted spend or just, our losses with regards to losing ads. And so we're going to break these down. What I do want to get a quick confirmation on is I'm going to try and play one of these ads real quick. I've got, Ad Manager pulled up. And I believe that my headphones, because I have headphones on today, might interfere with you guys actually being able to hear the video. So, or hear the audio. So I'm going to just do a quick test with this one here real quick. If somebody could tell me if you can hear this could you guys hear that? Actually, it probably would help if I would switch over my browser tab, which I always do with screen shares because they all have different settings. Could you guys hear that though when I was playing that TikTok ad, or could you not hear that? No? Okay, cool. Thank you, Marissa, for confirming. So let me just, let's make sure that this, okay, yeah, this is the one that I have open. All right, I'm going to try this again here real quick. And then let's just, if you guys could give me a heads up on whether you can hear this or not.
Probably go ahead and just pop that open and see what we got going on here.
Any
Those
audio?
Are quite small.
Yes?
Stickers.
Okay, sweet. Okay,
we got
cool.
More stickers.
All right, so I'm going to just pause this real quick and re-loop it. So I don't know what it is. Different softwares, different platforms will allow the actual TikTok audio to play through. Others don't. I've done so many Loom videos with TikTok ads and whatnot where you actually can't hear the audio from the creative. And I've only figured it out like later on. So we call this ad 1065. So this ad has spent, I pulled this data for you guys about a week ago at this point in prep for our session today. So slightly outdated, but not like insanely outdated. This ad has spent, more than $9,500, generated 178 sales, really good CPM at 342, pretty solid CPC at 73 cents. If you guys are in that $3 to $5 CPM range through your creative, you're in a pretty damn good spot. I really want to see you guys having your CPCs at $1 or less minimum. We're definitely seeing stuff, lower than 50 cents. There's some nuance to that, but you'll see a direct correlation between engaging creative equals low CPM. If you have CPMs north of $20 in TikTok, you're missing the mark with regards to engaging your audience that you're targeting. So let's dive into 1065. We're going to break this down. We're going to loop it twice. I'm going to circle back to you guys through the chat. Obviously, want to hear your input. I want to hear what you see. I want to know what you think makes this a winning ad. So I'm going to loop this through. We'll play it twice. Probably take about a minute.
Look here now, friends. Heatwave done sent us another box of fun. Probably go ahead and just pop that open and see what we got going on here. Those are quite small. Stickers. We got more stickers. That one's shiny. I like that. Bloop. That's pretty neat. Well, let's just kind of open up this cardboardified containulator and just kind of see what we got now. Oh, them laser faces, they certainly have a good look to them. These are almost childlike, it seems. Got a small human here. Don't panic. He's not mine. I'm holding him for a friend. Well, there you go, bud. Put on those safety squints. Grab you some Heatwaves. They're small human certified.
All right, so what I'm going to do now is replay the video without the sound, and I'm just going to keep looping it. And I want you guys to jump into the chat. This is a workshopping style environment. I want you guys to jump into the chat and point out to me why you think this is a winning ad. So I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your input. No wrong answers here. And then what I'm going to do is share with you guys some frameworks and things that we use. So obviously would love your participation. It will make this session that much more enjoyable. So Marissa says, discount code throughout, an interesting location. Simon's chiming in. Would love to hear from all of you guys. This is here to, help you guys crush it, with your ads, increase your conversion rates and stuff. So would love to get your participation. Jessica says, mystery of what's in the bright box, fun to watch unboxing. Very good. Simon says, probably unrelated, but have FBA SKU at the end. Interesting awareness through TikTok and Amazon. Definitely a good find for sure. A little bit unintentional there. What else have we got? What else, makes this stand out as a winning ad for you guys? We've obviously got the data to prove it. This ad has generated hundreds of sales. And the soft stats are really strong. So want to know what you guys see, whether that's from a messaging perspective, how the video is shot, the style of the content, the angle of the creative. Marissa says the child aspects makes it more human. Definitely like that. Jessica also, I think that was Marissa. Jessica said not super polished. Definitely a good call out there. Feels like a human, a real interaction. And then Simon added, there's some zoom in and zoom out, which can make it more engaging. Totally, right? So if that lens that our focus is for the creative to be, there's 3 keys to the focus: engaging, entertaining, and educating, right? So we're kind of educating them on the product. So you could think of that as a demo. So right out of the gate here, we've got this direct response offer driven angle. For most of you guys who have been in performance marketing for a long time, when you're speaking to solution aware audiences, most aware sort of audiences, promise offer driven messaging is what drives high intent conversion. And so we've got that element in that framework here right out of the gate from a direct response messaging perspective. The second thing we have is just from an aesthetic overall. I think like Jessica said, somebody else mentioned too, not super polished. Yeah. This is not overly branded content, right? Like this does not trigger the viewer or the prospect in TikTok to be turned off because this is a very branded ad. So we don't lose attention right out of the gate. That's the engaging part. The second thing we've got from a creative angle perspective is we've kind of got all of these really compelling angles lumped into one. We've got the unboxing, we've got a demo tied in with a little bit of a testimonial and review all at the same time. We've got the last thing that I would point out is this product within the actual creative itself is designed and developed specifically for one avatar, right? Like it's kind of this water sports, like extreme sports style of avatar, which if we were trying to market this like a generic sort of sunglasses brand, we would get absolutely crushed from a differentiation perspective. So the differentiation of the avatar is also a very key piece to why this is also a winning ad. And that doesn't mean, or let me circle back. Like you guys can run your ad sets very broad if you're using your messaging and your creative to target a specific avatar. Facebook, TikTok doesn't matter. So I want to point that out just in how specific this messaging is and how specific the avatar creation is so that it resonates with who we're trying to reach through our actual targeting. So that's ad 1065. Definitely appreciate your guys' input there. What I'm going to do now, so I got to do a quick stop share on this. I'm going to jump over to ad 1062. 1062. Okay. Let me put this out the front. I've got to change my tab here real quick so that we can pull up ad 1062. Let's make sure this is the right one. Okay, good. So 1062 is, so this ad has spent about $5,400 of recent, about 95 conversions, CPM about 380. So a hair higher, about 40 cents higher on the CPM side, but CPC coming in right around 62 cents. CPA on this one is about $57. So let's have a look at ad 1062. I think you guys are going to like this one. This is one
Listen
of my
here
favorites.
now, folks. As a metallic
Let me
fabricationalist,
just
sometimes
restart
you got to
that real
worry
quick.
about some of them metally bits getting in. And listen here now, folks. As a metallic fabricationalist, sometimes you got to worry about some of them metally bits getting in and around all your eyeball holes. Now, I've always been a proponent of the old qualifier safety third, but I'll tell you what, when it comes to a pair of safety squints, you should really have a decent set. The old Heatwaves, they done figured that out for us. Probably just go ahead and pop that little box of fun open and see what we got here. It's got a couple set of them Shaza justifiers. That's pretty neat. Heatwave, man, they really do a good job getting their logo just on just about everything there, don't they? On out of that condom there. Now that's got a face shield you can be proud of. And they got them little side panels on the side there just to keep them metally bits out the sides of your peripherals. I'm a big fan. Let's see how they look. They're working like a freaking dream here, folks. I like them. Oh, look at that. That comes with a sticker. I like stickers. Now, if I piqued your curiosity, that'd be the unit right there that's going to be doing the facial protections for the foresightable futurations.
Totally. So one thing Marissa just pointed out, that the talent is a huge thing here, fits the persona you were going after. Totally agree. I'll keep looping that as well while we break this ad down. So jump into the chat. Would love to hear from you guys on what you think makes this ad a winning ad. And at the end, I'll break down some additional frameworks that you guys can be using in your creative as well. So Marissa mentioned, again, with the talent, definitely a huge component to this. We really use a philosophy that we call message-driven targeting, which means if you want to be able to run broad targeting ad sets like male, female, 18 to 65 plus style of targeting within your ad platforms, you've got to develop the messaging specifically towards one avatar in order to run your ads that way. So Jessica goes, good hook, very specific call out, a good demo. Marissa mentioned engaging right off the bat with listen here. Simon mentioned the same thing. Listen here, folks, opening to get attention. A lot of hand gesture movements, product demonstration. Jay is typing in there too. Another thing that you guys should be considering when you're developing your creative is that, shoot, I just lost my train of thought. Your editing style, right? So we didn't mention editing style in the last video, but short, fast, engaging clips, right? 3 to 5 second chunks that are basically spliced together with this creative. Let me just double check the actual time length on this video here real quick, because I want a minute exactly. So I know we talk a lot about insiders from a best practices perspective, like 15 to 32 second videos. However, when you guys start to get really good at developing your creative, some of your longer form content is very likely to drive higher conversion by being a little bit more in that 45 or so second range. The last video was a little bit longer as well. And so if you can be engaging on the front end, don't be afraid to have a longer form piece of content like this that goes 59 to 60 seconds, because you can clearly see that these ads are generating conversions and they're generating sales, and doing so pretty effectively. Jay mentioned interesting, no text call outs on this one at all. We do have variations of this one that we've run with text overlays here as well, but definitely an interesting find. But what I want you guys to focus on, though, again, is duplication from a framework perspective. So if we think of the first ad, which was 1065, now we're looking at 1062, a couple things right out of the gate, right? We've got short, fast, sort of engaging editing style. We've got very native style content here. We've got very direct response messaging with regards to the benefits of the product. We've got demonstration of the product. We've got unboxing of the product. He even hits you with a little bit of the social proof angle of, which one of the objections in the 10 objection framework, for some of you guys who we've worked together before, like one of the objections in the 10 objection framework is, how do I know that this will work? Or how do I know that this will work for me? And so he answers that right out of the gate, right about here, when he's talking about how amazing, it works for his, he's kind of like a working as a machine shopman, if you will, like he, you know, is working in a warehouse sort of type setting. Jack also mentioned that the thumbnail or scroll frame on this video is perfect also. We talk a lot about scroll frame optimization. A strategy that you guys can implement when you're split testing your creatives is taking this one creative and turning it into very easily as many as 16 individual ads that you could test. If you filmed 4 different hooks for the front end of those ads, and you have 4 different headlines or hooks or text overlays for those ads, you're going to get a hell of a lot of mileage out of the creative that you guys are spending so much time to develop. Erkin asked, was there a CTA at the end? In this one, there was not. He basically just shows like the name of the product, which in a way is a little bit of a subtle, indirect call to action, because then it would force somebody to basically go to the website. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys there as well to break down that creative. We've got very benefit-driven messaging throughout the creative. We've got this testimonial unboxing demo angle in which that it is filmed through. We've got very specific avatar in the creative. Again, I mean, again, in this scenario, it's sort of like the working man, you know, sort of situation, the guy who isn't afraid to get dirty. Whereas most sunglass brands, like, they sort of market and advertise and brand themselves in this glamorous sort of perspective, but you know, this is not done that way. This brand is going after a completely different type of audience, and it doesn't want to be like every other sunglass brand. So the creative is really important in that perspective. Jay mentions in there as well, he's very entertaining, especially with his language. 100%. I think that's one thing that I didn't touch on yet. And Jay, that's a great call out by you, is that you have to speak to your avatar, right? So when you're developing your UGC content, not only is that UGC customer style, like, you want to speak like them, right? And so, yeah, Jack mentioned he's a personal favorite creator for sure. Don't take that for granted with, you know, talking like your target avatar here, you know, through your creative when you're developing your UGC. So that's ad 1062. We've got one more left. If you guys want to throw questions in the chat, you know, after we go through this last ad, we'll definitely have, you know, 10 or 15 minutes to jam on some questions as well. So let me just make sure I've got my right tabs open here. So we're going to go on ad 1023. Much different ad on this go around. Let me make sure this is the right tab. Yep, ad 1023. Much different ad or much different creative from which that we saw originally. Actually, let me jump back to my slide deck so you guys can see the stats on this one here first before we do that. So this is ad 1023. Ad 1023 is run for a pretty long time. This ad has spent about almost 16 grand in a variety of different scaling strategies that we use on our side. You'll see that CPM is a little bit higher, but those CPAs are pretty much right in range, and that ROAS is pretty much right in range on all 3 of these creatives. Pretty consistent stats all across the board with CPM and CPC. 275 conversions on this ad. That's just in-platform tracking too, by the way. So not any other ways of tracking where you've got like custom MER spreadsheets and top-line sales and things like that. So let's have a look at ad 1023. This is a little bit of a more short form creative on this one. So let me switch over my tabs and we'll have a look at ad 1023. Sweet.
So I'm laying in my bed this morning and I hear out the window the sound of what can only be described as somebody getting after it. Somebody brapping it up, giving it the old dip, 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 dip. So I'm laying in my bed this morning and I hear out the window the sound of what can only be described as somebody getting after it. Somebody brapping it up, giving it the old dip, 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 dip.
All right, so what do you guys notice now from this ad, which is a much more shorter form ad? Jump into the chat. Would love to hear your thoughts. Let's break this ad down. Keep playing, then looping that through for you guys as well while we're doing that. I know it's a little bit of a shorter one. This one's only 14 seconds, whereas the last ones were closer to that minute mark. Marissa says, curious if the CPM is a little higher because it's more niche with the language, that viral bike sound specifically. There's probably differing opinions on this. Michael, actually, if you're still on, would love to hear your thoughts on this, but I'll definitely weigh in from my philosophy. You will typically see lower CPMs when the creative is specifically engaging to an avatar. So not necessarily trying to be argumentative there with you, Marissa, but when your creative is really resonating with the avatar, you should see lower CPMs. Where you will typically see higher CPMs is when your creative is not resonating with the avatar. So I just think, there's, it could be more specifically like the actual, what could be causing a little bit higher CPM is the little bit more direct response messaging of no glasses do it better for extreme sports. So maybe we're losing a little bit of engagement. Like we're literally splitting hairs here with comparing these three ads. So maybe there's a slight turn off from the actual audience because of the first scroll frame that they see. So I would suggest that it's more centered towards that than necessarily the niche language specifically. You should see lower CPMs like more often than not when your creatives are engaging for that audience. Erkin said, is that a possible viral sound for bikers? Yeah, like that sound where you sort of hear obviously like the motorcycle dirt bike sort of start up, but he does it auditorially, right? Niche language, niche sort of, sound that, only really makes sense to that more extreme sports style of audience. So what else do you guys notice about this creative that is making it a winning ad? Jump into the chat. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. And then I'll sort of give you my summary from my side. Got a couple more answers coming through at the moment, so just bear with me and we'll go through all that. While that's kind of coming through, one thing that I want to point out that Jay pointed out before was that this ad and this content does have that text overlay right out of the gate. There's so many different variations of this ad that you could develop, that you could run in your phase 2 creative testing by isolating these thumbnail variables that'll give you so many different potential winning ads when you go to scale it. So Jay mentions quick cuts, very short, induces curiosity because it doesn't really go deep with the product itself. And isn't that what we're selling all the time, Jay, right? Is hope and curiosity through our marketing. We want to sell curiosity through these creatives, and that's a lot of what engaging is all about, right? Like having your content and your creative be very engaging is through this element of curiosity. Jack also mentioned hyper specific to the target demo, entertaining as well as he's popping a wheelie. If I like extreme sports riding dirt bikes, I'm going to relate immediately. That's one of the things that I would say, I guess, humble brag, that we've done really well here with this creative is that, and by all means, like we've messed some things up. Like we've tried to go after a more broad audience that is not rooted in the more extreme sports, like water sports style niche. And it just lumps us directly into with every other, sunglasses brand. Right. And so, if you guys are looking for areas to optimize through your TikTok creative, as well as just through how you're media buying on TikTok, develop that creative to a very specific avatar. For any of you guys who are maybe listening to $100 Million Offer right now by Alex Hormozy, he goes through that in very intense detail about owning a very specific niche. If Heatwave was trying to market to everybody with their sunglasses, they would literally wind up resonating with no one. And so just a call out to Jack on the hyper specific target demo. Like, we run these ad sets with very broad interests at the ad set level. We're talking male 18 to 44 style targeting, very large interests at the ad set level. But the messaging and the creative is so specific that it doesn't allow us, it doesn't pigeonhole us from a physical targeting selection perspective on the ad platform. Yeah, Jack mentioned we tried female at the beginning and we killed that very quickly. Yeah, we thought that using having female creators was the right way to go in order to attract the male audience, and it was a flop. Like, it was a fail. It didn't work. And through, obviously reading through the data, within the ad platform, seeing where our segmentation was coming from, we were able to really drill into, this side of the avatar. So want to appreciate you guys for sticking around. Hopefully this was a super thorough breakdown for you guys with some frameworks and strategies and tips and tactics that you guys can use with developing your ad creative as well. More than happy to stick around for 5 or 10 minutes to answer any questions that you guys have. So if you want to pop those into the chat, definitely can hit on those. If we don't get too many questions, I'll probably close it out here within the next minute or two. And you can always follow up with me as well if you'd like. On TikTok Insiders within the hub, send me any DMs, send me any messages within the feed. One thing that I did not do a good job of is I didn't set my intention at all. We just got right into it today. I'm Will Perry, CEO of Future Content, as well as Elite Media Buyers Academy. Super happy to be here with you guys. Bi-weekly, we'll be bringing you, along with Max, some winning ad breakdowns so that you guys can replicate these strategies for your own media buying. And fire those questions over into the chat. Be happy to answer those for you. You could find me on LinkedIn, things like that as well, Facebook, etc. So Marissa asked, you had mentioned the 10 objection framework in the previous stream. Curious if you could elaborate on that a little. Yeah, absolutely. Give me 1 sec and I'll actually bring up a slide for you guys. Add SOP. Bear with me 1 sec. I'll actually show you like a physical representation of that. So the 10 objection framework is based on the fact that most prospects, aka suspects, have 10 questions in their mind subconsciously that they're literally going through as they're sort of consuming your product. And so when you answer those 10 questions through your marketing message, the mix of either A, your ads, your ad creative, your landing pages, etc., you're going to be able to overcome those objections and drive high intent conversion, right? So a couple of those questions, for example, are how do I know that your product is different from everything else that the customer has seen? If you can answer that through your messaging in your ad copy and in your creative and on your landing page, you are positioned far and better and differently through the better way than your competition. In this case, in this scenario, the actual avatar selection is a big piece to this because we're marketing specifically to the motorsports community, for example. Other questions that you would want to answer through your marketing campaign and through your campaign promise are, what's in it for me? Like, what will I get out of this? How do I know this product is real? And so an exercise that I do with a lot of media buyers is I have them walk through this where you come up with 10 responses to these 10 questions, and it literally starts to write the ad copy for you. So really, it's like in sales, guys. Like when you're on a sales call, you're going to have objections on that sales call. When you can pre-frame the objection on the front end, how much easier does it make it for the sales team where they're not even having to answer those objections when they get on the sales call, right? And you want to be thinking, how do I do the same thing with my ad creative, with my ad copy, with my landing page, etc., within my funnel so that I can drive that high intent conversion that I'm looking for. So Marissa, hopefully that adds some context there for you around the 10 objection framework. If anybody else has any questions, yeah, you're welcome, of course. Feel free to pop those in the chat. I'll stick around for another minute or two. Unless, we get, a bunch of questions jumping in there. Happy to stay on a couple minutes longer. Once the recording saves, we're going to fire this over to you guys in Insider. So definitely circle back and check that out. We'll post it on YouTube as well. So if you want to rewatch it at any point or share it, with any of your marketing friends, definitely don't hesitate to do so. Looking like we're not getting a whole lot of questions here at the end. Totally okay. Make sure you join me 2 weeks from now. We're going to do another winning ads breakdown. I'm always open to requests as well. So if you guys have a specific industry that you're working on around a specific niche like health and wellness, supplements, beauty products, personal care, fashion apparel, if I've got it in our repertoire, lead gen, if I've got it in our repertoire, I'll break down winning ads for you guys. So if you have any requests, don't hesitate to reach out and we can get it on a future session. And appreciate you guys being here with me. Feel free to start jumping off if you like. We're pretty much going to close it out here in the next couple of seconds. We'll share the recording here with you guys really soon. And check out future content if you need help with any of your creative. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch you here really soon. Have a great day.